Yep. Good morning, everyone. So last session we learned some keyframes, animations, how to define. Right. Next, after understanding the keyframes, next we will see how to work with responsive design. How do we work with responsive designs? So let's see responsive web design. Already we know, just we need to keep a list actually. Then we can start bootstrap and learn. Already we know all this. But we will make it better with bootstrap. Already we learned about responsive web design. Means how to make the page easily fit onto different screens. Already we learned so many things. Responsive is nothing but responsive web design is making the page device friendly. Making the page device friendly. Device friendly means it can fit onto various types of screens. Easily they can fit onto various type of screen. So to create responsive design, what are the options required to create responsive pages? Responsive pages, you have to implement the following. Now, all these days I told you so many things as responsive. Can you name them? List. Starting from HTML to create the page responsive. I told you some topics. Here and there, we learned those topics from the beginning of HTML onwards. Can you name those topics? First one is to make the pages more effective, we can use meta. Okay, next. Width what? That means we can use meta. Another one, size for elements. Size for elements defined in percent. Am I right? Anything else? What else? Media queries. Good. So we have one more option is media query. Media queries, landscape, portrait. Okay. What else we use it for responsive design? What else we use it for responsive design? So for responsive design, you learn display flex, display grid. These all for responsive only. You remembered I showed you grid, single row, multiple columns, single column. When we change orientation to landscape, portrait, we learned flex. Flex means cards will display in one row. You adjust the width, automatically cards will come into multiple rows. Am I right? All these comes under the category of responsive. So already we learned responsive design. Now we can make it more better and simple by using other techniques. Already we know meta. Meta responsive means which option we have to use? Meta viewport. Am I right? Size fluid images. Actually, so this is for images, images and other contents. To make them fluid, we use percentage. Next, Media queries, by using media queries, we can change the orientation and all, right? Another option is display. All we learned, we saw some examples also on them. So responsive design is not a new concept. Already in the beginning itself we discussed. Actually, people who learn general web development, this topic they learn means they learn how to prepare responsive design after the end of CSS. But we already done that from beginning. That's the reason it's not a separate topic for us. And we will create real-time responsive pages with more libraries also now. We will design them. Already we know everything. One extra you have to know. That is, you already used media query, but in media query you used only landscape and portrait. Actually, we have to use media query with min and min width and max width. This you have to learn, because in some interviews for freshers they ask what is min width, max width, what is difference between width and min width. So you have width, min width, you have max width. What is difference between min width, max width and all, right? Difference I will tell you. The media query is simple, already we know media query. So here we will create a new page. Just I am giving a new page. So media .html. Already, so in the media queries we learned the option like what we done, style. In the body section we want to apply, so we are using media. First, what is the media type? Media type is what? Screen. And we have to use end. Here we used orientation. Orientation can be landscape or orientation can be portrait. What you can do is you can use the options like min width. Min width how much? So suppose min width is 500 pixels. Then what we are doing, body, for body, yeah, body background color we are setting yellow. Now see what is the meaning of this. Actually, we have min width 500 pixels. Now you can see it is yellow color. What does the meaning of min width is? Nothing but min width means, you see I am reducing the size less than 500 pixel, then it is normal. Min width 500 means from 500 to end. That is called min width. That means min width 500 means minimum 500 pixel to end. That means if the browser width is minimum 500 pixel and more than that, then how you want appearance? You can change row by row, column by column. I'm just changing color. We can set different things. Like what you can do, see, I'm just using width. Suppose what we will do, we will put an unordered list item, home, and a list item, about. We will create some real-time design, but first you need to understand concept. We'll see. Now what should happen here is, if width is minimum 500 pixel and more, then it should come side by side. So in that case, what we can do here, min width how much? 500. What is the meaning of min width? So width 500 pixel. What does this means? Exactly 500 pixel. 500 pixel means exact 500 pixel, not less than one, greater than. That means if I set width 500 pixel, background color yellow, then if my browser width is 501, it will not work. If it is 499, it will not work. It should be exactly how much? 500. It should exactly 500. That is what it can do. So technically that is the point here, right? Now another important is, suppose if I give min width 500, min width 500 pixels, then what should happen? From 500 pixels, understood? From 500 pixels up to end, from 500 pixels up to end, what you want, color, styles, or anything you can set. That is the meaning of that, right? Because every time rotating is not the concept, because sometimes we use laptops and desktops that doesn't support orientation. Orientation is only mobiles and laptops that support tab based environment. Otherwise people used to generally reduce, means generally what they do, because operating systems support multitasking, they will put windows side by side and do work. Then in that case they will resize the window, adjust the width and height of the window. In that case, according to that, we need to design. Orientation is not the solution every time. We need to write for width and height. So here, if it is minimum 500 and below, then what we will do? Unordered list, we will put display as what? Flex. And we will keep, so list item, so what is it? Margin right, margin right, margin right, margin right as suppose 50 pixel we will give. Now you can see here it is normal. When I'm adjusting the width, background color will change and they will come side by side. Again I am adjusting, they will be normal. That is what actually the concept of min width. This time orientation is not the point, width is the point. If I give 500 pixel width, not min width, I give 500, it's very difficult. Window size should be correctly 500 pixels, it's very difficult. That means even to try also it will be little difficult to adjust correct 500 pixels. So that is not correct. Here we have to use min width or max width. What is meant by max width? Reverse, you know. What we can do, if I give max width, what this means? Max width 500 pixels. This means from 1 pixel to how many pixels? 500. That means from 1 to 500, from 500 to end. That is. So max width 500. That means you can write in a reverse way also. Instead of min width, what you can do? Max width. We can give max width. But max width display should not be flex. Display should be what? Display should be block. Display should be block. Block means one below another. Right? And margin not right. Margin must be bottom. Margin bottom must be 50 pixels. If it is not, then ordinary. What we will do? We will change normal. What is it? Unordered list. Display is what? Display is flex. And list item is what? List item is margin. Margin right. Margin right is how much? Suppose 50 pixel. Like this we are giving. But this is another query, right? Now what we will do? Here we will write at the net. At the net media. Media is what? Screen. And here max width. Already we written max width. What is it? Min width. Min width is from 501. Because up to 500, 1 is there. So 500 onwards, we want to display side by side. We want to display side by side, and margin right we need to apply. That means you can see now I am adjusting this. Now it will come in normal. Up to 500 it will be yellow color. From 500 it will be changed. You can put a different color. You can change a different appearance. Orientation is not the solution every time. We have to define min width as well as max. Right? These are important while designing the pages. Right? To make the pages good responsive, you need to use these techniques. So we have media queries. We have the options syntactically like this. At the net, media, and the media is screen, and we have to give min width is equal to how many pixels. So then what are the effects you want to apply? So you need to configure the selectors and effects. Selectors, any selector you can define, and effects you can use. These are called media queries, right? So these all are basic important things you need to learn in CSS. And whatever you learned in CSS, these basics are enough. We can start building good pages now. We can start designing good templates now. But in real-time projects, one of the main concept is reusability, maintainability, and reducing the lengthy logic into shorter way. CSS, we learned CSS, how to use them and work with them. But CSS have a lot of issues. Like CSS will not support reusability. Reusing any code of logic is very difficult. We need to write again and again. Lengthy process is there. That is the reason, after knowing the concept of CSS, to make CSS simple, you have to know about a concept that is Sass. So now we are going to learn about the concept of Sass. So here, what is the concept of Sass? Why we need this Sass, you will understand. Actually, in real world projects, majority 90% they use Sass, 10% not. Direct CSS is used. It's a choice actually. So why we need Sass? I will tell you the concept. See, suppose I am designing. Let's put a separate folder here. I will create a new folder in the public. I will put a new folder. Sass examples. Okay. Here I am adding a page, some index.html. And this is the basic page. Here I am writing a container div class as container. In the container, there is a heading, suppose Sass, and a paragraph CSS pre-compiler. Like this, we return something now. Now I want to apply some effects for container. Then after that, I want to apply some effects for heading in container. I want to apply some different effects for paragraph in container. Because headings will be outside container. Outside container also some heading may be there. I don't want to affect them. I want to affect only the headings inside container. And outside container paragraphs also may be there. So we don't want to affect them. So now tell me how to apply one set of effect to container, another set of effect to heading in container, another set of effect to paragraph in container. Then how do I write style? Tell me. We have to write style. First, effects for container. That means dot container effects. Now for headings and paragraphs in container. Then again dot container, in that heading 2. We have to use child selector na. And for paragraph, another effect. That means what we have to do, container paragraph. Any shortcut you can tell other than this? Shortcut means less in a shorter way, better. Means I want to apply effects to heading, paragraph, and container separate. Is there any another shortcut technique for writing this? This is the only way you have. There is no other shortcut. There is no other shortcut. This is the only way you are having. That means we need to rewrite those class names. We need to use parent-child hierarchies, right? Okay, this is fine. Suppose, means this is one problem. Now, how they are actually present inside the page, I will show you here. Now, you see, this is the technique we are implementing for that. Yeah, this is the technique we are using. Now, how they are actually arranged? Suppose we have a container. Now, in the container, for container, we are giving some effects, okay? Means border, padding, something for the container. Now, inside container heading is there. For heading, we can add effects. Inside paragraph is there. We can add effects. This is not possible in CSS. You cannot write a selector inside another selector. It's not possible. Now it is possible. Now, if it is possible, that's great. That's very good. That means how the elements are arranged in a page. In the same order you write. You don't need to use any parent-child selectors. Just you write in the same way how they are. That's very good. This makes simple, but this is not available in CSS. If you are using CSS, you have to use the lengthy process. There is no shortcut. And now if I can write like this, that looks better. That looks better. Another important, suppose not only this, for example, you see, suppose we have some elements like, suppose we have a div, its class name is box1. And we have like this, so 2, 3 divs are there. Like this, 10 divs are there, suppose. 10 divs are there, box 1, box 2, box 3, like that, 10 divs are there. Now I need to access all the divs. And first box must be here, second box must be here, and third box must be here. That means first box must be left margin 0 pixel or left margin 100. Second box left margin is 200. Third box left margin is 300. Now tell me how to apply the effects for them. Box 1 left margin 100. Box 2 second margin 200. Box 3 third margin 300. Like the 10 boxes. How do you write effects for this? You cannot write dot box 1, box 2, am I right? Because all are not same effects. Na? All are not same effects. Then how do you access all these boxes and apply? Now, actually what we have to do first, box 1, for that margin left, box 2, margin left, box 3, margin left, 10 times you have to write. But now if you are a software programmer, you know any computer programming, then you can use an iterator, loops. By using the loop from 1 to 10. So that means from I is equal to some 1 to 10. what I can do is here I can access this box and I can put here. So I can put here I. Understood? That means it will be first time. And see here what I will do here. I will write a logic here. So that is left margin. I will give I into 100 pixel. That means first box will be how much? First box number will be how much? I value. I value means first box value will be 1 into 100. That means it will be 100. For second box, it will be 2 into 100, 200 until 10 boxes. Now you are writing only 4 lines. It can work for 1000 boxes also. This is not possible in CSS. This is not possible in CSS. And that is the reason now developers know these programming techniques in computer programming. Developers know that by writing such logics we can do, but CSS don't support. Then what we do is we choose a language. By using the language, we write the program. We convert that into CSS. That means developers to make this simple. Now what developers will do is actually developer uses a language like SAS is a language, like less is a language, less SAS, these are languages. By using this language, we write a program. But unfortunately, this program you written and you made everything simple. But this is not understandable to browser. Browser can understand only what? It can understand only CSS. So what you have to do, we need to convert this into, that means we have to convert this into CSS and give to the browser. That means you write in the way that you know. As a programmer, you write. It will take care about conversions. It will convert into CSS and use it. So you don't need to write lengthy, but finally it will be lengthy. But you don't need to write lengthy. You write in a shortcut way. It will be translated into the original. If you have to write the original way, it will take so much time. That means you have to write 50,000 lines. See, CSS files means in real-time projects, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 minimum design. That means 40,000 lines CSS file will be there. 40,000 lines CSS program will be there. At large scale means it will be hundreds of such files. That means if lot of CSS is used in your project, then company says that if you want, you can use SAS. Remember, this is developer's choice. If you don't know SAS, it's okay. You can directly do CSS, but you will do 10 days work, 25 days. And the person who knows CSS, he will just do in those 10 days. That means company gives a choice to you. Says that it's not mandatory to use SAS. If you know SAS, you can use it. Then anybody who knows SAS, he will use it because he don't want to waste time. Right? And people who don't know SAS, then they have to again do all the CSS lengthy way. Some companies mandatory, they say that already our project is using SAS. Without SAS knowledge, you are not allowed into project. That means we don't take you because you have good knowledge of CSS, but our company is completely designing everything in SAS. Our team and our developers already using it. You have to work on it. Then otherwise, you are not suitable for such projects. So they mandatory ask it. Even while creating a project, many technologies will ask you which type of CSS you want to use. Direct CSS you want to use or you want to use SAS. So what is this SAS actually? What is the concept of SAS? Actually, SAS stands for syntactically awesome style sheets. SAS stands for syntactically awesome style sheet. Actually, it is a CSS preprocessor, or pre-compiler. People say processor or compiler, anything is fine. You can say preprocessor or you can say pre-compiler. CSS preprocessor. What is the advantage of this? Advantage of this is it provides programming logics. It provides programming logics that allows developer to write all effects in a simplified approach. That allows the developers to write all effects in a simplified approach. That is the main advantage of these preprocessors. In many interviews of job, they will ask you, you learned full stack web development, then which CSS preprocessor you learned? Right? Do you have any awareness on CSS preprocessors? So SAS and LESS are very popularly used CSS preprocessors. So first we will see SAS, then LESS I will not teach you. You can handle by yourself. I will show you difference because both are same. So only few syntax changes will be there. You can explore by yourself only. So SAS here, one problem is, so SAS is not understandable to browser. Then how? The SAS programs are translated into what? CSS. So finally your website is using CSS only. So then why to use SAS? To make development fast, to make the development easy. And anybody who have little bit program skills, he will not take risk and waste the time. He will simply use SAS and make everything easy. So that is the reason. Is it mandatory to use SAS in any project? Not mandatory, right? You can directly use CSS, right? Now, how to handle this? How do we work with this? Let's see. That means you have to install SAS, right? First step, what you have to do is install SAS on your PC. If you install SAS on your PC, it is available in any project you can use. Not only here, SAS is installed in complete PC. That means it can be used on any project on PC. Java, .NET, PHP, Python, Angular, React, every project can use SAS if it is installed on your PC. Every project process is same. So project is same. That means when you are creating a project, it will specially ask which CSS you want to use, SAS or LESS. SAS or LESS or CSS, which one you want. You can directly choose one. But SAS will not work directly. You have to install on your PC. How to install? First point, you have to open command prompt. You have to open your command prompt and type the following command. You have to type the following command. Command prompt, what is the command you have to type? npm install globally SAS. That is the command you have to type. G indicates global. Don't miss that. If you miss it, then SAS will work only in the drive where you install. If your project is in some another drive, it will not work. So where your command prompt opened, there only it will install. And your project is somewhere else, it will not work. So make it global -G. That is compulsory. Flag G, right? What we do? Open command prompt. In the command prompt, npm install globally. What is it? SAS. So it will download and install SAS for us. So done. Once SAS is globally installed, Okay, close this now. You can use in any project you can use it. First, for that, this is installed, finish. Next, create a new SAS file and translate into CSS. That is the next step you need to learn. How to create a SAS file? Simple. Add a new file into your project. That file name can be some effects.scss. SAS files must have the extension SCSS. So SCSS is compulsory. Then you have to write. So write the CSS, write the effects using SAS functions and syntax. What are the functions and syntax? I will tell you now. We will discuss about that. Okay. After writing that, what we have to do is translate SAS file into CSS. How to do that? You have to open the terminal. That means here translate into CSS from terminal. We have already terminal now. That means now remember, you have to open the terminal. Terminal is where you kept SCSS file. Where you kept that SCSS file, that location you have to open in terminal, right? Then here what we have to simply write SAS space. Here you have to define the source file. Source file is effects.scss into which file you want to translate, as effects.css. That means what it will do, whatever the code you written here, it will translate into CSS and copy that code into this one. You can give a different name for CSS, but that is simply confusion, because by which name you given the source file, target file also same name. Don't mess up your brain with this kind of creativity, right? File name is different, folder name is different, right? That will cook your brain. That means later you will be confused what you are doing. You don't know where your files are. Already you are coming with same doubts. You don't know where you kept your HTML file. You don't know where is the Bootstrap node modules. You are writing wrong path and coming not working. That means even today, many people are coming with the complaint that path how to write. They are getting path problem. Now at this level, you should not get path problem. You should know correctly where your HTML file is, what is its folder, and where your CSS file is, how to refer to that path. At this level, you cannot get confused again. You should be very clear in referring the path. I see regularly people coming with these doubts every day, even today, right? That means they are coming like Bootstrap icons not working for me. Why it will not work? They will work. Please check the path where you kept your HTML file, where you are keeping your node modules Bootstrap. How to refer the path already told you. If HTML file and CSS both are in same folder, then we have to use /. If it is in some other folder, come out of /. If it is in 2 levels back, you have to use 2 times /. Already we discussed all this. So many times people come with this complaint that, sir, file not found coming. Why file not found will come? You may be running this command in some other terminal location where you kept your SAS file. From there, you have to open the terminal. From there, you have to compile this and keep the names correct, exactly same, right? That will help you easy to handle. Okay. So that means whatever SAS is there, it is converted into CSS. Now, which file I have to link? SAS file or CSS file to HTML page? Link CSS file to HTML page. not the SAS file. SAS file will never work. SAS file is only for developer. That means many people have this doubt. If CSS only works, why you are writing in SAS, translating into CSS? Directly write CSS. Already we done that. Already we are doing direct CSS. In several projects also we directly use CSS, but some projects it's impossible. Why? Because some projects deal with a lot of effects and we cannot manage those easily with the direct CSS. It will take time. That's the reason we take help of program. By using programming, we can make the CSS simplified. If anybody asks, so the question like, what is the role of SAS? So what is the role of SAS? So the role of SAS is very simple. It makes your CSS reusable and extensible. So, and testable. These are the three main things. That means reusable, extensible, testable. Testing CSS is difficult, but testing program SAS is easy. We have separate testing logics. We have separate testing frameworks. By using those testing frameworks, we can easily test where it is going wrong. Right? Program is easy to test. You see HTML you are learning, but what is the problem? You missed a tag. End tag is missing, end tag you are not closing. No, you will not get any error. You will not get any error and you will not able to find the problem easily. Verify again and again where you missed it. But what is the advantage of programming? A compiler will be there. What that compiler will do? It is going to translate. While translating it, find any problems, immediately it reports it. That's easy. If you direct write CSS, lot of issues will be there. If you write SAS, it is easy to even find the bugs, fix them. Testability will be easy. So reusability, extensibility. Extensibility means without disturbing the existing CSS, you can easily add new features into it, which you will see now, how we can extend also. These are all very much important. Right now we can manage that in SAS. Let's see how to do it. So let's see this one. Already SAS is ready. What we will do in this folder, SAS examples folder, we will add a new SAS file. What is the SAS file name? I will give as effects, or we will do one thing. We will maintain a separate folder for that. I told you all the code keep in SRC folder. Na? All the code you have to keep in SRC folder. That means public is for static, SRC is for dynamic. CSS, SAS, everything you can keep here. Let's do that. I will put here SRC. In that way, we'll add a new folder. In that SRC, we will add a new folder called SCSS. SCSS is the folder name. Okay. Now here, keep all your SCSS files. Right. I will keep all the SCSS file here. So what is the file? Effects.scss. We have to give the file name. We have to give the file name as SCSS. Now here, how to write the logic? What are the basics here? We will see. So many things are there. Now we will see how to use the options. Like first thing is SAS programming techniques. We will see what are the SAS programming techniques. In the SAS programming techniques, the first important is hierarchy. Yeah, the first important is hierarchy of elements. Hierarchy of elements, actually, what is the problem with CSS is CSS have to depend on lot of child and what are those descendant na? descendant selectors. Descendant selectors means child selectors means parent under the parent child. Descendant means element after the element another element, after the element another element, that is called descendant. Already I told you we have tilde, we have plus, we have space. What is difference between them we learned. That means what CSS have to do is CSS uses parent space child. Am I right? This is to refer all child. So it uses like so element, so A and plus B. This is what it is, adjacent. Am I right? Adjacent. And it will use A tilde B. What does that means? That means all elements after the current, right? All elements after the current, it will apply to all of them. Now what is advantage is SAS allows developers to write exactly in the same hierarchy, yeah, in the same hierarchy without using any selectors, without using any child or adjacent selectors. SAS allows developers to write exactly in the same hierarchy without using any selectors. That means how we can write, I will show you the example now. Let's see. So let's go to this program now. Our index page is having container in that heading, in that paragraph. I already told you in CSS how we do. Now see here what we did. Dot what container. For container, I am giving border as 2 pixel solid and some red color. For container, we will give padding as 10 pixel. For container, we are giving these effects. Inside container, there is heading. Then now in SAS, what is advantage? You can directly write that heading here. It is not possible in CSS. In CSS, within a selector, you can write only effects, no selectors. No selectors. Now you can write a selector in the selector in the same hierarchy. How it is in the page, in the same way you can write. Now here, what I am doing is for heading, I will put color as red, text align as center. And after that, in the container, we have paragraph. You can write directly. In the paragraph, I will put color as blue. Like this, we will write. That means you don't worry about parent-child hierarchy of selectors. You just write in the same way how they are in the page. You write your effects in the same way. This is not possible in CSS. Now, after writing this is not understandable to browser. Then what we have to do? We need to translate this into CSS. How do we translate that into CSS? Open this location in terminal. Where you kept the file, open that in the terminal. That means right click and we will say open with the terminal. Open in integrated terminal. Open in integrated terminal, it will open that in the terminal here. Or what you can do, simply just when you open the terminal, generally your main project will come. Here you know how to change into directory. CD, what is the folder? SRC. In SRC, CD, what is the folder? SCSS. That is where we kept the file. You have to change to the location where you kept the file. That is very, very important. After that, here you have to run the command. What is it? You have to run the command SAS and what is the folder name, file name? fx.sc ss, and what we have to do, fx.css, and you can hit enter. Now you can see automatically, you can observe an fx css is generated. And there is another file called fxcss.map. This map is not required for you, but if anybody asked what is the purpose of this map file, this map file is used for migrations. Migrations means from one version to another. Suppose later, if a new version of SAS comes, then when you compile, what will happen? Automatically, it will take the old version, translate it into new version, and it will update. So you don't need to worry about that. The map files, it will take care. So it will identify the version and it will automatically update to the new versions. So that is map files importance. So as of now, we don't need that. Just CSS. Observe very carefully now. Let's observe the logic, how it generated. This is the SCSS file. It is the SCSS file. And I will open the CSS file. When I open the CSS file, you will see the CSS file. It is in the same. It is in the same. That means what it is doing, it is going to display. It is going to display like this. That means if this is the SCSS now, and this is the CSS. It is the CSS. That means here what we have to do every time, container, in the container heading, in the container paragraph. But here directly you write them as it is. You have to just write them as it is. Now, this is the left side, whatever is there, it is not understandable to browser. Browser can understand only this. Now we can translate this. That means we can make this available to our heading. Which file I have to link here? We have to use link. What is it? Relation. Relation is equal to style sheet href. Href is ... it is in public, again ... it is in src. In src, which one? SCSS, in that fx.css. I am linking that fx.css file here, not SCSS. You have to link CSS. And now you run this index page and see. Automatically those effects are available. If you want any modification, then don't do in CSS file. Every time what we have to do, we have to go to SCSS. Here we do the modification. I'm using some background color, some yellow, right? And for heading, I'm giving some background color, suppose some lime, something like this. And you can see output is not ready. Why? Because after making the changes, every time you have to compile again. That means again, because in every computer programming language, any modification done in the program, it must be translated again. It must be compiled again every time. Whatever the changes you made, they will not update automatically. You have to translate every time, because whatever you written is not correct, sometimes may be wrong. Then translator will check every time. Any change made, is that change valid or not? It will verify. So again, translate, same command. Again, the same command you have to use. Then hit enter. Now it is updated. Now you can see the effects are working fine. This is only first level. Now, if you learn good programming now, you can do more complex and more simple things. So very fast, very complicated things very fast in a simplified way. This is just introduction. Means you just learned how to write the hierarchy. Programming is very large. So many things are there you need to understand here. We will see them. First important, hierarchy. How to define the hierarchy. So let's take an example here. Example is, first point, what you have to do, you have to create a new folder by name SCSS in src. create a new folder by name SESS in SRC. After that, add a new file into SCSS folder. So the file name we will give as fx.scss. fx.scss. This is fx.scss. I will copy that here. I will give all this in the notes. You can try. Next, after that, what we have to do, open the file location in integrated terminal. So then run the following command. What is the command? So SAS, that is fx.scss, fx.css. After that, link fx.css file to index.html. Index.html code I will give here. That is index.html. That is index.html. In this, we have all the logic. So this is the first thing we need to know in SAS. So in SAS, first option, how we can write a program, how to translate, and how to link. Right? After every modification, note, after every modification, compile the SAS file, SCSS file again. So after every modification, compile SCSS file again. That means again you have to do the same. fx.scss, fx.css. That is the option. These are the options, right? Okay, now this is the first thing. How we can use the hierarchy and how we can write the hierarchy. Next, important in the programming, in the SAS programming, you need to understand about variables. In SAS programming, another important variables. In every computer programming language, variables will play a key role. Actually, so what is the concept of variable is, in JavaScript, you will learn more detailedly because JavaScript will teach you more depth programming. Here, variables are storage locations in memory, where you can store a value and use it as a part of any expression. That is the meaning of variable. Variables are simply storage locations in memory where you can store a value and use it as a part of any expression. Let me explain this. For example, see, suppose you have done so many rewritings earlier. You have done so many rewritings. Actually, suppose we are writing some container. For this container, I want to apply some shadow. Then what we do, we use a box shadow. What is the box shadow having? Box shadow is having 3 values now. So 4 values, 2 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, and some color. Color is some black, like this. Now, when you are designing website, one of the major thing is entire website theme must be same. Theme must be same. That means uniform appearance. Suppose I want to apply, so for an image, for an image in that page, box shadow. For an image, I want to apply box shadow. And here also, same effects must come. Suppose this is some green color. Same effect should come to this also. Same effect should come to this also. So what we will do? This part, we have to write it again. Similarly, wherever headings are there, there also I want the same box shadow. That means all should be similar. Now I am writing like this for image, img, right? For container, for all of them, box shadow is similar. Okay, that's good. You written it very well. But the problem is later if I want to change the values, like little bit more shadow and shadow color should change. Then here I written only 3 times. Generally in websites, the same effect is used hundreds of times. Because it is not only one page. Website contains 10, 15 pages. In every page, we are using that effect. In every page, you are writing this. And you use it for 100 elements like that. Then what you have to do, if you want to modify the theme, you have to go and modify everywhere. 100 changes you have to do. Now, what is advantage of the point here is, what we will do is, we will have a memory. Our browser is having a memory. Usually we have a browser memory. Every browser have memory. In this browser memory, we will allocate a location. And in that location, we will store this value. In that location, we will store that value. In that location, we will store that value. And here, we will not write that value. So we are not writing that value. In that location, we will store that value. Now, after storing the value in this memory, because in the browser memory, there can be several locations. Then how to access this location? Every location will have a name. That means what is the name? This is A, this is B. Now, this A can allow to change the value whenever you want. It will allow to change the value whenever you want. That means the memory reference name is what? A. Now, this A and B these are variables. These A and B are variables. Variables are storage locations in memory where you can store a value. Now, what is advantage is you can access the variable and use it here. Everywhere you can access and use A. That's it. That means everywhere you can access that A and use it. You don't need to write complete every time. Now, what is the specialty here? Whenever I change the color red, automatically it is applied to all of them. Am I right? That makes your CSS more easy, reusable, easily maintainable. That means if you change in the memory, it will affect everywhere. That is the specialty of variables. You can store a value and you can access and use from any location. Now, actually, in SAS, that is the main purpose of variable. That means SAS variables are configured. SAS variables are configured by using dollar and name. That means we have to just define syntactically like this: dollar variable name and colon and whatever the value you want to store. Whatever value you want to store, you can just store the value. So you can configure the variable in this way. And how to access the variable? So variables are accessed by the same reference name, That means wherever you want to apply, suppose you have a CSS attribute. To that CSS attribute, you want to apply the variable. Just you have to use dollar what variable name. Whatever the variable name you given, you have to just apply that here. You have to just use dollar for configuring the variable, accessing the variables. Let's see now. For example, see, I will go to SCSS. Here, what I am doing, I have border option, background colors we will remove. Now we have border and we have box shadow. Box shadow 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 2 pixel, and suppose gray. That is the box shadow. Same I want to apply to heading also. That means box shadow. Box shadow, again I am writing same. I am writing 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 2 pixel, and gray, like this. For heading, for container, same shadows I want, then I am writing that again here. Okay. Now after that, you compile and you can see here it is working fine. Same shadow is coming for both of them. And I want the border also same. I want the border also same for heading. That means heading have to use border. Border also, what it have to do, 2 pixel solid, what is it? Red. We have to write like that. That means after that again compile. After compiling, output will be here. Now see what I am doing. So we will go to the SAS at the top. In the SAS, we are declaring a variable dollar shadow, variable name. Variable name is shadow. And into that, what you want to store? 3 pixel, 3 pixel, 2 pixel, and gray. This is what we want to store. Okay, you can declare any number of variables. Another variable is for border. Border, what is it? 2 pixel, solid, what is it? Red. Right. Now see, for border, you can remove this and we can just use the variable name. Variable is border. For shadow, you can remove this. You can just use the variable name. What is it? Shadow. So that's how we define. Similarly, here also, we have to use the same variable. What is it? Shadow. Here also, you need to use the variable name. Variable name is what? Dollar border. This makes your CSS simple. Now, usually here it is working fine. I will compile this and you can see it is working fine. And see, I have to just change the border colors to blue and shading to yellow. I changed here and I will compile. It is going to affect all of them. Wherever heading, wherever container, everywhere that shadow will be applied. That means you need to just change the variable. You just need to change the variable. That means you set the variable name and you just compile it. Then automatically it is going to affect everywhere. So variables, what is the purpose of variable? You can store any value and you can use it as a part of any expression. So variables are defined by using this technique. Example is this. Now here, so many rules are there for variables and so many things you need to understand about variables. This is example of which file? effects.scss. After that, what to do, you know. You have to translate it into CSS and see the index page. Those changes will be applied. First, you have to try up to this. This is enough for today because it is a little bit complex from tomorrow onwards, because now you are entering into programming, and programming is not just like playing like HTML. All these days, you may be here, your brains may be somewhere else roaming, right? But now it cannot happen. You cannot understand if you can't keep the brain here, right? All these days, you may be sitting here or your brain may be roaming somewhere else. Now it cannot happen, you can't handle. Now if you have to handle the technology, you need to concentrate very much, because programming is not easy now. It is growing complexity now. Now you can't understand and handle if you don't follow properly. Okay, I will repeat the topics 2 times, 3 times, again and again, everything, right, with the different examples. You need to concentrate more now. It's not like HTML. Programming logics are complicated, right? So from hereafter, we will grow complexity now in, because now later JavaScript comes, it's very tough. If you can handle now, it's easy, very easy. Okay, then tomorrow we'll continue. First, today what you do, you install SAS first, create